Okay, so this is just a bit of a guide for how to write a comparative essay, a bit of structural stuff. Hopefully some of the ideas you've already got ready in your mind, but just some tips before we start. So you'll have a topic, not necessarily a question. Just make sure that you're actually talking about that. And what that means is that basically at the start and at the end of the paragraph, you make sure you're talking about that topic. So for us, that's power, but it could be any different topic or idea. And just make sure that it all ties together around that central theme. So make sure that you're talking about things precisely and you're keeping it alive throughout the essay. So the more that you can combine ideas like that with text 1, text 2, the better. Make sure that you have a great topic sentence. So it's really easy to just start with both and just say both texts talk about whatever your topic is and not actually say anything. Try and take a position if you can. So, this text shows this version of this one theme and this text shows a different version of the same theme, and then you can contrast throughout rather than just giving overall saying that they're similar or something like that. Try not to repeat yourself. Try and cover as much information as you can. What we've got here is, make sure you're relating it to the question. It's easy to not do that. Make sure it's balanced. So one thing I'll ask you to do after you finish your paragraph is just to highlight each text in a different color. And if there's way too much of one, then that's a bit of a bad look because it suggests that you're not as confident in the other text. Then we've got beware of the frying pan conclusion, which is basically where you just say everything you've already said. There's not too much need for that. Your conclusion can be quite short and quite simple. And at all costs, the conclusion should not find that they're similar but different. Try to hopefully throughout the essay you've shown different ways that your theme is different rather than simply saying that yes, they both are the same but slightly different. Try and actually by the end of your essay have a different set of topics explained. So I've got here intro too simple, but this is pretty much all you'll need to do. Basically respond to the question or prompt for the first text, the question or prompt for the second text, draw a rough comparison for later analysis and acknowledge similarities and differences, and then just do a first, second, third that will say what you're going to talk about in what order. So when it says number 3, a rough comparison, so you're not connecting characters or events or themes yet, you're just sort of saying a bit of an overview of each of the texts and how your topic or your idea is explored. And then that's, similarities and differences, just to give us a big overview of each of the texts, who made each text, all those basic stuff, all those basic things, and then some examples from each, and then just first, second, third, which will set out the structure that you're to follow in a second. This is our body paragraph. So the really most important thing is a topic sentence that actually has a strong viewpoint rather than just saying yes, both, but actually saying different ways that the idea is manifested, the different ways that it's understood in each text. Then you give evidence. So for the first one, I'm talking about a book. So evidence, a quote, and a literary device. So something like in Animal Farm, this character represents Leon Trotsky, or the milk and apples is a motif that represents something else. For film analysis, evidence can just be a description, and then ideally you could have a quote. You don't need to have a quote, but you definitely need to have scene analysis. So talk about shot types, talk about music, talk about acting, those sort of things. And then overall message of the director or the author's message. So just to reiterate your point, but to link it to the actual director or the author. And if you're really showing off, you can make a connection like this between their message and the way that they've actually shown it. So this is probably more a year 11 skill set, but if you can say, for example, that director used, wow, that's very neat writing, director used this thing because they wanted to show this thing, then that's really high level analysis. You don't have to do that, but if you can, that would be good. At a baseline, you just say overall, this director said this author said this. And then your linking sentence just says, we've just spoken about this type of thing, and then next up is something else. Your conclusion, just to clarify, I guess, you need 3 paragraphs, and then your conclusion is very short, and it just says, overall, this has already shown this and this, and the things that we talked about the authorial style. So the things that they use, the kind of the method for communicating what they communicated. And then the overall comment on the idea can just be something like, in today's world, it's important for us to remember that whatever you think, or each of these texts shows us important messages about whatever your topic is, just to sort of link your essay to the world and to the present time. But that's basically all you need to do for the structure of a comparative essay in Year 10 EAL.